Just in time to see our first qualifying match of the evening here on Lightshade LE, spawning in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner. We have the blue Protoss player coming down from the land of Indonesia. Not sure which region in particular, but from Indonesia. He is, of course, going to be representing Elites of Indonesia StarCraft. He is Quantel.
I'm catching up with the chat. Oh god. That's spawning in the top right hand corner of Lightshade LE. We have the Australian Terran player representing Team Opus V. He is the up and comer. It is Piglet.
I want to have a series where I just explain things from memory. Like a story behind mooncakes.
Mm-hmm. Oh god.
I looked it up later on. Turns out I remembered it way wrong from what I told you in Kuro, but I like my version better anyway.
Mooncakes?
Yeah.
Oh god, I remember you said some nonsense and I just erased it from my memory.
So what I remember...
Nah, that was not an invitation for you to go again, mate. That was not... Try to keep it that way. Oh god.
Quantel being very annoying, almost losing his probe in the process, but instead he gets a delay on that CC and does keep his probe alive.
Yeah, that he does. You know, he is able to get his CC up and running, a little bit delayed as you were saying, but not the biggest of deals. And we'll see how Quantel approaches this matchup. That's what I'm curious about. You know, are we going to see some Beastork-esque play? Are we going to see some reliance on DTs toward the mid-game to really keep your opponent at home and not off guard? Or are we going to see something more standard with Blink Stalkers?
Yes.
Yes.
All of it.
Nah.
Yes. Yes.
I think what I will say, oh god, what I will say is that, especially based on what we saw yesterday with Piglet versus Zane, is that if we do see a more greedier style going for a faster Colossus, like, yo, Piglet, he's got answers to that.
Definitely. Looking back on that series against Zane, I feel like Piglet is kind of the opposite of Azure when it comes to TVP, right? Azure is always on his opponent's face.
Yeah.
Whether he's pushing out or whether he's just mind dropping his opponents into submission, he's always trying to do something to keep his opponent back and eventually break them. Piglet, though, he's a lot more cautious. He will hang back a lot more. He won't pounce if there's even a 10% chance that his opponent is going to be able to win that engagement. He's definitely a lot more as you're saying, just a lot more cautious, but it does pay off for him more often than not.
Exactly. You could argue sometimes he's like maybe too cautious to the point where he's just, you know, letting his opponent getting away with like too many advantages. Ooh, speaking of, he does get a probe, but he loses his Reaper. Oh my god.
And his, I don't even know what that was. Hellion? I think it was Hellion. Hellion.
Yo, Quantel's workers don't have any fear, mate. They're deadly.
That's the Indonesian spirit. Question mark.
Oh god. Not touching that. Yeah, that was impressive, you know, like maybe Piglet getting a little bit too over-eager there as he does lose a lot of his forms of aggression, but he is going across the map with this small drop, has even a Widowmine in this as well, so Piglet, yo, can he find something? Can he somehow, someway force a cancel and maybe a third? No, he just goes straight for the natural.
Yeah, he could get a cancel, but he will not be satisfied with that damage. He's going straight for the natural base. Burrows a mine and Quantel doesn't see it! That's a skadoosh if I have ever seen one, and the Marines are in the main base. Brilliant start here for Piglet. So much damage. Arctos' pylon!
Oh my god, the pylon is going to go down, depowering everything in the main base. Eventually, of course, these Stalkers will deal with this. They do have Blink, but the Medevac survives and gets into the natural. Well, he just keeps on going.
Yeah, again, doesn't want to take an unnecessary risk. He's already got a ton of damage done. 7 probes plus that pylon. I know Blink is already done, but that will delay charge a little bit. That will delay any other upgrade he wants to get from his Twilight Council. He's not going to be able to make observers. He's not going to be able to make a warp prism. He's not going to be able to make anything, really.
Yeah, exactly. That really does just slow down everything that Quantel is going for. Finally, he does start charge, but this also means that the follow-up push from Piglet will be that much stronger.
Yeah, it was already going to be very strong. 3 racks, 1 factory, 1 starport. That is about as aggressive as you want to get as a Terran player in TvP, at least to open things up. Speaking of aggression, 6 gateways on the way for Quantel. He has completely given up and tried to catch back up on the macro. He says, you know what? You brought this on yourself, mate. I'm going all in.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about what Quantel is doing is that this is very Taiwanese, as he's not relying on any splash damage whatsoever, just going full on gateway units.
I was about to say Taiwanese isn't a word, and I'm like, wait, it
what?
is.
What?
Because you were like Taiwanese. I'm like, Taiwanese, yeah.
Yeah, do you need to go back to bed, dude? What is wrong with you?
I thought I was already in bed.
Oh god. But yeah, for those wondering, like, this is how Haas approaches the matchup in the Taiwan-Hong Kong qualifiers that we were able to cast a couple of days ago. We did see that it wasn't just Haas, but also some of the other Taiwanese Protoss players have also been influenced in a positive or negative way by that, in also relying on a lot of chargeless and stalkers.
Looks like Haas's influence runs deep here, all the way over to Indonesia. We'll say that, again, a very key difference from Haas and a lot of these other Protoss players is that Haas is a lot greedier, and Haas also makes sure he's safe with a Templar Archives. Okay, Quantel's getting Templar Archives now, alright.
Yeah, that he is. He is for those Archons, so he can go full-on charge Archon, but he needs a little bit more time as it's not even completed yet. And Piglet, he is now in the face of Quantel.
Sieging up his tanks in range of those Widow Mines. You'll love to see it. That's exactly where the chargelets want to be, but also don't want to be. They want to be on the tank. They don't want to be on the Widow Mines.
Exactly. We don't want to see any of that. Meanwhile, we do see the Widow Mines leapfrogging forward. We have a Raven to snipe that. Oh, nice on burrow on the Widow Mines, but immediately they dive on top of the Raven.
Yeah, very neat little micro trick you can do here as the Terran player. Concussive Shells keeping these Zealots in range of those Widow Mines. That one Immortal came out, got immediately slowed down by Concussive Shell and got taken out. Quantel tried to go for a counterattack, but look at the SimCity Light. Look at how well these bio units are positioned. 19 SCVs have gone down, but Quantel is still looking to do more damage. Piglet has completely cleaned out the aggression on his center map.
Yeah, exactly. On both sides of the map, even as the Widowmine shots are going to be able to clean the rest of this up. Sure, the tank will go down, but the bio army does break into the main base, and there is nothing left. GG gets called, and Piglet takes the first game.
Mate, we were talking about how cautious he was, and this game, he's really saying, I could still be aggressive, guys. Just because I'm cautious doesn't mean I can't strike at an opportunity.
Yeah, I feel like the opener probably did kind of lend towards how he played here, like because he got an early lead, not just with sniping pylons, but also with getting a bunch of worker kills as well. He was able to just kind of work his way up towards that, and it was a bit of a 1-2 punch for Piglet. Damn.
Yeah. That's every Terran player's wet dream, I think, for the TVP. I might actually use this now instead of going for mine drops every game. Single mine, 6 Marines. It looks to be very effective at pulling the Protoss player apart in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, like
splitting their focus.
Yeah, despite having Blink Stalkers, Quantel really did struggle to deal with that. Did eventually shut it down, but yeah.
And well, you could say that the most effective thing that Piglet got was that Artosis Pylon, and I highly doubt Quantel's going to make that same mistake twice. Regardless, I do think it's just a real good multi-prong.
Definitely.
Roman is going to be our next map.
Yeah, looks like we are going to be diving into Romanticide. This time, the lobby will be made on the Australia server as we are alternating.
Yeah. Nice. And so, final question mark? It's
Oh,
catching
he
up the
knows.
chat right now.
Oh yeah, he knows.
Huh? ¿Qué?
Mm.
Finale?
Sí, sí.
Grande.
Oh god. As we are getting set up for game number 2. Meanwhile, as a bit of an update for people, Pez and Ender opted not to wait, so they have already started their series.
Understandable.
Understandable completely. They are at least in game number 2, but we have no idea what the score is.
I'm gonna say 2-2.
Maybe. This quickly, I don't know about that.
It's Pez and Ender we're talking about.
So at least game 2. And, yeah. We'll see how our series shapes up, especially because we're on Romanticide.
Yeah. Roman.
Yo, I love how everyone's on this question, mate.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yo. Tis true. El chancho el chanchito.
Sí.
Soy en hermanos.
Oh, God, that was awful, mate.
El chancho's hermanos. As we load into game number 2 here on Romanticide LE. We're in the bottom right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have the red Terran player coming out for the land of Sydney-ish area, not quite Sydney proper. He is, of course, going to be representing Team Opus V, as well as the Quantel family. He is Los
You got it.
Small Ito
Swole?
Los Ito Chancho Air East Piglet Chanchito.
The only correct thing you said was Chanchito. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Romanticide LE, we have the Indonesian Zerg Protoss player. He is blue, representing Team Elite of Indonesian StarCraft. I had to wait for it to rotate around. It is Quantel.
It's like Elite
LE?
of Indu Nisha StarCraft. There we go.
There we go. There we go. So, because we are on Romanticide, I do have to wonder if Quantel is going to be a little bit more aggressive here. Like, yo, there's plenty of areas for some proxies if we want them.
Nah. We're on Romanticide, so that means Quantel's just gonna go up to 4 bases as quickly as possible, right?
Skytoss?
Skytoss, right?
So, like, Cristiano was going massive void ray against Terran the other day, and it was disgusting.
He was. Yeah. Last night. Did that once or twice after we raided him.
Oh god, he did.
He also forgot to turn his mic on, and he was speaking to his webcam, and no sound was coming out.
And we told him, and he knew, but he did it anyway.
Yeah.
Very Yakuzaku.
The only thing we could hear was weed music.
That's all he wanted us to hear. He is one of those otakos.
Los otakos.
See. Meanwhile, it looks like Quantel is going for the exact same opener once again from that initial Stalker. We do have the Sentry as a follow-up for that additional scouting with the Haluk, and we have a Twilight Council behind it, mate.
Are we going to see that standard blink once again, or are we going to see something a little bit different, something a little bit more Zealot focused?
Yeah, I mean, on Romanticide, I kind of favor that style a little bit more, maybe, but at the same time, because it's Romanticide, you could argue there's no reason not to try and get some faster Colossus out, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely with you there.
It's like, why make things hard on yourself, you know? Like,
yeah, it's typically the MO of a lot of Terran players. Try to attack that third base as quickly as possible with bio and with a tank. A Colossus can absolutely shut that down if the Terran player makes even a single mistake in their control.
Speaking of third is on the way here for Quantel at that triangular location. No crazy forward third because we don't need that. And let's go. Robo gets thrown down. I don't want to get too excited. But you know, at least the tech is on the way. And mate, Piglet's swinging it again.
Ooh, this time with a Cyclone though.
Yeah.
Not quite that mine marine drop, which I suppose Quantel wouldn't fall for twice. So.
Yeah, I guess so. So instead, he mixes things up a little bit more. He did do something very similar to this in his TVZs against both Vivid and Oreo.
Yeah, thankfully a couple of stalkers were already in position, so they are able to swat this away. Piglet only gets 2 probe kills for now.
Yeah, for now, he's forced all the way back, is working on his own 3rd CC, and we could be seeing a bit of a longer one here.
Yeah.
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 Oh boy, so this time Quantel, he is going to be able to get into the swing of things. You know, Charge is going to finish up, he's going to get his production up and running, his 3rd base. Speaking of 3rd, so is Piglet. Obviously there's still an opportunity here for Piglet to push out once he gets his tanks and his production up and running, especially with this Raven. Again, there's so much that this Raven can get done, but it looks like Quantel should be the aggressor first here with that War Prism.
And those gateways and that charge. No Forge out yet though.
Yeah. Again, just like the previous game, like the gateway explosion with the War Prism.
It's actually getting even more gateways this time.
Oh boy, and to be fair, you need to, because you're not relying on splash damage, like, you need as many zealots as possible. Because as soon as your zealot buffer goes down, like, these stalkers, they don't trade that well.
Too.
Yeah. You need that layer of protection, you know?
Yeah. It's kind of like blubber in it.
Sure, yeah. God damn it, Yaku.
That's an analogy.
It's something, mate. So Warpers is getting across the map. There we go. There's a massive warping of Zealot 7 being thrown down. Tanks have moved from the high ground to the low ground. They're unsieged. They're a little bit exposed.
They're very exposed. Those Marines should be able to come in and provide a bit of a buffer, and that's absolutely what you need against those chargelets. I love this. He's walling off that ramp with bunkers. I do not see Quantel getting much done here, especially if he continues to wait.
I mean, he also has to be careful not to just straight up A move, otherwise he's going to waste his charge on the SCVs. And there we go. Oh my god, they're being well wasted, but he still gets on top of the tanks.
Yeah, he did A move, but then he move commanded. Beyond that, the tanks have gone down. The Raven Strike has thrown out some auto turrets, and it will, but it will also give up its life in the process. A lot of SCVs being pulled here to provide a bit of a buffer for the bio, and the bio still stands. The chargelets have, for the most part, have been dealt with.
Oh my god, and there was a second wave of chargelets, but they wasted their charge on the building depot instead. It looks like there are enough Marines to take out these chargelets. The boys are being pulled. Oh god, it's so close. Oh.
Yeah, I feel like Piglet will eventually clean this out, but he's losing a lot of SCVs in the meantime. Quantel ain't stopping the Warpins right away. He is 100% all in right now.
Exactly. I mean, he has +1 on the way. He just finished up his Twilight Templar Archives. That's it. For those Archons, but GG gets called and Quantel ties up the series.
1-1.
GG.
I have a feeling Piglet's gonna make a tweet after this.
It's gonna copy paste Risky. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh god. But yeah, wow. Quantel finally able to get his build going. And
well, no, yeah, mine was some. It's just I remember Piglet doesn't have any social media.
He does. You know that?
No, he doesn't. There's an account that's called Piglet, but it's run by MJ.
Yeah, exactly. That's his social media.
Is it really his? I mean, I guess he owns the rights to it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he has access to it. He just doesn't post there. Which, I mean, there's a lot of people out there who have a social media account and they pay someone to tweet for them. So that's the same thing.
I mean, that's what I do.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's what I do, so can't blame him.
Yeah, that's where all that phone money meant, wait.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's where the stimulus went.
Shaking my head.
I didn't spend all of it on the piano.
Oh boy, oh boy. Alright, we'll just wait to see if the players can ready up. I have to wonder if Quantel has more of the same, or now that that build has worked, is it like crossed off his list, and is he going to whip out something different, or more of the same?
Well, if it ain't broke, don't break it.
Is it break though?
It might be. Bliss, please.
Boy.
Balance, please.
Oh god, Blizz, mate, it's ESL now, mate. What are you on about?
ESL, please.
ESL, please. Alright, here we go. We are diving in. Game 3, we're tied up. Who is going to take a lead in this series?
Let's find out as we load into 2,000 atmospheres. LE, we're in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. We have the red Datum player coming out from the land of Sydney-ish sort of area. He is going to be representing Opus V. And I'm sure Taste of Bacon as well. Question mark, potentially. I don't know. He is Los Hermanos de la Pig, de la Chancho, Air East. Piglet.
Yeah, you gotta stop. You gotta. I can see you right now. Like, oh god, it's not working, mate. And he's doing it. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2,000 atmospheres. LE, we have the Indonesian Protoss player representing Team Elite Indonesian StarCraft. It is Quantel. And this, mate, is what Piglet did to Probe in ANZ Champs.
GG.
Let's go. So if you're wondering, the gases have been taken, and this should be for a proxy marauder. Oh, actually, not in the same location. I believe, if I'm not wrong, last time it was like in the center of like all this shrubbery, like to be a little bit more hidden. But this time off to the right instead. Still, I guess, hidden for when it comes to the probe path through the center of the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's away from the rush path. Unfortunately, not directly in the main
Let's
base
go!
of Quantel.
Let's go!
Speaking of the shrubbery, Quantel looking to fight fire with fire a little bit here. He's checking around the edges of Piglet's base just in case he gets bamboozled. He doesn't want to get bamboozled here and be like, oh, actually, you were building your barracks back at home. Just,
so,
you know.
yeah, so what's important is that Quantel did scout, by the way. He saw that there was a proxy. So his answer to the proxy is a proxy. He's going Stargate. The Zealot will miss the Marauder. We'll see what the plan is here for Quantel, right? Like, I guess the Marauders can't shoot up. Works out.
Obviously, base trade, yeah.
Yeah. Let's go.
Ideally, I guess Piglet would get a Cyclone, but he has no reason to right now. He's spending all of his gas on Marauders and concussive shells.
Here we go. The Marauders are moving out here across the map already. Going to be hitting the main base of Quantel. Going to be forcing the boys off the line. Meanwhile, shield battery has been spotted by the Hellion of Piglet.
You know, something's coming his way. He's defending against that, but he doesn't really have the infrastructure to do so.
Oh god, I'm really concerned. There we go. Finally, the tech lab is going to be on the way. Oh god, that was so close.
Close. But I tell you what, like, you can't repair a building add-on.
No, you cannot. I mean, even if he could, it's in such an awkward position. And this will go down. That means there will not be any Cyclones, mate. Is this like a hard counter?
Maybe as we get a bit of a recall.
Yeah. Like, Quantel's fine.
He really is, ain't he?
Wow, that's it.
GG
wow.
immediately. Wow.
Oh
Starport
my
was almost about to finish up. but that was not gonna be enough. GG Quantel, surprisingly, is gonna be the player who takes a lead here in this best of 5.
So in my mind, there was a world where, especially because the Hellion, when it came out, it did see the shield battery. If the Hellions saw the proxy, that the Marauders could maybe turn around and depower the starport, sorry, the Stargate, sorry. But Piglet, he just went across the map. He just went for it, and yeah, as we saw,
This definitely came down to information. It was a game that came down to information, map vision, scouting, and to be fair, I mean, the game lasted 3 minutes long. There's not a whole lot you can do vision-wise if you're being proxied like that early on, but still, it really was a bit of a heart counter that Quantel went for, which coincidentally dealt very, very well against the proxy. This is why we always proxy the tech lab in the main base, fellas. Take a page off of Skylar's book.
exactly. Oh god. Meanwhile, we're just trying to figure out what map we're gonna be on. Okay, there we go. I'm like, what's the map? Lightshade. Well, Lightshade was game 1. It's like, oh. Oh.
Oh, I like you just in the chat. Oh, Chase is here. That's why everybody decided to go cheesy.
Ah, there you go.
So make sure I had Chase.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
All
a couple of people wondering why Mio, Micah, and Demi and the like aren't in the qualifiers today. That's because they already qualified, mate. Not wrong, Demi is in the closed qualifiers. Mio, Micah's in the main event.
Yeah. Funada, Dark Void in the chat. Mio Micah has been invited into the next round alongside Demi. Again, this is the open qualifier for the closed qualifier.
You open, then you close. Wait, really? Wouldn't Mio Micah be in the main event itself?
I think he is in the main event. True.
Yeah, because I'm like, it's weird if the runner-up in the main event has to go through the closed qualifiers again.
That would be weird, as we are diving into our game numero 4, number 4.
Sí. Quattro formaggi.
You gotta stop. I understand that like you missed out on the Latin America costs, and this is a bit of a sore spot there. Feels bad, man. But shaking my head, mate. Shaking my head.
The sore spot is in my lower back where I slept.
The real question is, now I know the chat, specifically MJ loves this. He PM'd me actually in Discord. Mate, when is Ryan showing up?
When is Royan coming back in? Am I supposed to do a Royan intro now?
Hey, you do what you want, mate.
Ciasteczka, okay. Top right-hand corner of the map. Spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have, of course, the red Rojas Terran player coming down from the sort of Sydney-ish kind of area, which is very far from the Monterrey sort of area, which is where we get the Jack from. He is, of course, going to be representing Team Opus V, el jugador de Opus V. Ist der Bruder den Big. He is Los Chantito, Piglet.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Jagannatha LE, we do have the Indonesian Protoss player representing Elite Indonesian of StarCraft. And checking for a proxy, it is Quantel.
Girihi Protoss Glass.
Oh boy. I don't know if I personally, I didn't think that we would be in this scenario where our Protoss player, mate, he's taking a lead in this series.
Yeah. Un momento.
Quantel greater than Probe confirmed? Is that what we're getting?
Oh, we all knew that.
That's true. It's true.
We all knew that.
Look, Probe, he's getting ready for Age of Empires 4. Okay, he's
been practicing Age of Empires 2.
He has
to
been.
get ready for Age of Empires 4.
And it
It's
didn't
actually
help.
streaming that right now.
Yeah, it did not help. It
Not at all.
Oh my god.
As little did we know, Age of Empires 4 would be, and I quote, shit game.
Did Probe say that?
Wait, what did Hut say earlier on in chat?
True.
Sag game.
Oh god.
Sag game.
From what I've heard from a lot of people is that Age of Empires 4 is a fun game to play, not necessarily the most fun game to watch. And there are certain issues, especially when it comes to the way unit control groups, not unit control groups work, but units in general work and how you can micro them, and how you can select them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Age of Empires does have a bit of a competitive scene, specifically Age of Empires 2, not so much 3, but there's definitely a reason why when it comes to RTSs, it got very much overshadowed in esports and whatnot by the likes of StarCraft and Warcraft.
Yeah,
This doesn't lend itself too well to competitive formats. It's kind of like the Hearthstone of RTS, if you want to think about it that way.
Kind of. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people did want, like, something more akin to Age of Empires 2, but Age of Empires 4 is a little bit more, like, of a mix of Age 2 and 3. Instead, which has some pros and cons to it. Obviously, the game isn't out yet. You know, subject to change, of course. You know, they can still adjust and refine.
This is the time to Funara.
Yes.
Relic Entertainment.
Exactly.
Tell them how sad their game is. Or how sad you are about their game.
Or how good it is. Exactly.
or how bad.
For sure. Regardless, I'm sure it's going to be a fun game.
Sure it's ain't here.
But we are here in game number 4, and once again, Piglet going across the map with the Cyclone.
Yeah, and a couple of Marines. Saw that dog move out of the brush, and I was like, oh, Quantel already has spotters! I was like, no, that's a critter.
Oh boy. Alright, here we go. Drop his head towards the main base, but Quantel should have... I mean, he does have an army to deal with this. It is at the natural, though. His main is a little bit exposed.
No vision here for the drop. I don't see a shield battery, nor do I see units. Oh no, the SimCity actually working against Quantel's favor a little bit. Thankfully, there are no mines or Hellions, but made 6 probes already?
Oh my god, but, mate, you could argue it was worth it because the medevac does get sniped alongside the Cyclone and everything else.
I saw that medevac crash into the water. So it went down. Very nicely done here by Quantel, sniping it out of the sky. There's a bit of a follow-up push here from Piglet, but we also have a spotter, adept, and without the support of that medevac, that Cyclone, and those additional Marines, this is a very, very weak push. He blinks right on top of that tank because there's not much of a buffer. The Marines are starting to come in, though.
Yeah, that they are. I mean, the tank does go down, and without the tank, that is the backbone of the Terran army. Piglet is forced all the way back. Ooh, unfortunately, these SCVs were a little bit too late, and they have to turn around and go all the way back home. Oh my god! Quantel, please!
Yeah, he's overextending a little bit. And this gives Piglet an opportunity to continue pushing, apply some more pressure, but instead, he does a sensible thing, and he backs away. He builds up for round 2.
That he does. Like, he's still in an okay position, right? He's got plenty of SCVs. There we go. Double NG bays are thrown down. Not just double NG bays, but also the 3rd CC. We see a scan even. Piglet confirming that we have continued probe production for Quantel.
Yeah, he's not going all in as he was in the first game.
Yeah,
he's still getting a lot of gateways.
Yeah.
Still very Haas-esque.
That he is, you know, taking, or at least avoiding the robo disruptors or Colossus or Storm or anything like that for a long time, relying a lot more on charge lots. And I mean, to be fair, charge lots are pretty good.
They are. Offensively, and I mean, they can be decent defensively as well if they're able to catch siege tanks out of position and whatnot.
True.
But it's definitely a big if, and we also have to see if Piglet's going to be aggressive this game, or how aggressive Piglet wants to be this game.
Yeah, we shall see. If he does want to try and hit some kind of timing with all his upgrades, which would hit pretty nicely, you know, 1-1 is on the way, Stim, combat shields, everything will be done in due time. But before that happens, Quantel does already have his War Prism, so he has the opportunity to go out across the map again, just like on Romanticide.
He's waiting to do it. He's loading up that War Prism with Zealot. He's getting a 4th base. Wants to be as greedy as possible while just trying to keep the Terran army back for as long as possible. Piglet, has he gotten a 3rd? Because he's not getting one right. He's not building a base right now. That is definitely worrisome for Quantel. This is a lot of Terran army. Okay, he has a 3rd base.
Yeah, it is already done, ready to be lifted up and landed on location. As Piglet is slowly, you know, expanding out and getting that 3rd base up and running, working on his armory for 2-2 as well. So, again, he's thinking of the later stages of the game. He's not, like, you know, short-sighted.
10 steps ahead. Well, in this case, both players are 10 steps ahead.
There you go.
Certainly nobody's ahead.
Oh,
I do
boy.
want to favor Piglet a little bit more here, just because he hasn't missed a beat on his production. Quantel really did have to make a choice of, do I want to get this 4th base or do I want to tech up? And unfortunately, he would have had to sacrifice one way or another. Piglet, though, he's doing all right in the economy, and he's still building up his army. And as you said, just is continuing to think about the next phase of tech, the next phase of the game.
Yeah, like, the problem is that, like, we just haven't seen Piglet in what he does best in this matchup. We haven't seen him, like, in the mid-game with his Ghost, with his Bio Army, you know, like, EMPing whatever he can, dodging Disruptor shots. Like, the games just haven't lasted that long. So, hopefully, things change here on Jagannatha. Hopefully. Oh my god,
the Raven!
Oh!
Does get sucked immediately, and he blinks away!
Oh, no.
The tanks were sieged! Did he even lose a single stalker in that engagement? That is a snipe that should not have happened. Quantel already getting so much value.
Ay. Oh my god. Like, the Raven did nothing this game. Absolutely nothing. Wasn't able to use a single spell.
It built up its energy so it could be like, yeah, I'm gonna get the anti-armor missiles in. And then it died.
Yeah, and now this is a scary moment because Piglet is taking a very long time expanding, by the way. Like, he is so oversaturated at his natural base. He has more than enough to break out, but he's still terrified of what Quantel has outside his base, which is like a handful of stalkers. Like, there's nothing to be scared of, to be honest. So, yeah, he's kind of, it feels like Piglet is psyching himself out a little bit here, respecting his opponent more than he should. And because he's giving Quantel so much room, we have double Robotics Base about to finish up. Like, we're gonna have those disruptors or Colossus. Like, it's all coming.
Yeah, plus the Dark Shrine just to round things off. Piglet, we mentioned before how a lot of the time his cautious approach to TVP tends to work out. Not in this case. He is finally starting to push out, and I do think he has a very, very powerful army. Quantel has delayed his AoE for so long, but he's still hesitating a bit, and the disruptors are coming out.
The problem is that even if, like, a big push is coming, which it is, right? Piglet is almost maxed out. By the time he gets across the map, we will have disruptors, you know, and then it's going to be about, you know, whether or not Piglet can dodge those Purification Novas. Like, sure, he has Ghosts for EMPs, but we're not talking about High Templar here that can be EMP'd. We're talking about disruptors. We're talking about the Purification Novas, the balls, mate.
Yeah, and I'm definitely optimistic here for Piglet. Simmed Bio can definitely split against Purification Novas, but I mean, if there are a lot of Purification Novas, it only takes one. And you are just increasing your chances of getting that one juicy Purification Nova connection.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of, here we go. Quantel is moving on out. You could argue that maybe Quantel doesn't need to do this. He can approach this as a Zerg player, take more expansions, and wait for Piglet to try and take a 4th base. But here he is with a lot of Zealots. Oh, where are those disruptors?
But that's such a... Yeah, he's got a lot of Zealots. Moving into a choke point, though. I do not like that position for Quantel at all. Here on the open ground, I want to favor Quantel a little bit more, but Piglet, again, just doesn't want to overstay his welcome. He wants to fight in these choke points, and he's making sure he doesn't put himself in an unfavorable position.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, the War Prism tried to sneak into the main base. It immediately got shut down. There we go. Piglet has nothing to worry about. He's working on his 4th base. He's on top of his upgrades, +3, soon to be 3-3, on the way for Piglets. And Quantel has to back off, and he has to get a bit of a better army. Like, sure, he's working on Colossus, that's great. I still think Piglet is okay, though. Like, I think he wants to fight, like, this kind of army composition. Like,
yeah. It's all about positioning right now for Piglet.
yeah. God.
If he leaves one too many Marines in a choke point against those Colossus, then that's going to be it. But that's definitely a big if. We've seen how quickly Piglet is able to reposition his army.
Yeah, like this is what I wanted to get into in this series. You know, it's very difficult and it's very tense to see Piglet go up against disruptors and focus fire when he can and split when he can and EMP. But it's also exciting as well because when he pulls it off, like it looks so good.
It's also so tense because he's one of the few players who is willing to allow that to happen.
Yeah.
Once again, to use the Azure comparison, Azure will try to take out his opponent before it gets to this stage of the game. It's really how he prefers to play out TVP.
Yeah, meanwhile, Piglet, he's very patient, he's slow, he's methodical, right? Slowly getting his third base, slowly getting his fourth base, right? Just taking things easy here. Getting ready to explode.
It's a slow burn, as they call it.
And Quantel isn't taking full advantage of that. Like, when your opponent gives you this much time, what do? You expand and you take up. Like, you get, like, Stargates running, you get fleet beacons going, you get as many upgrades as you can. Quantel isn't necessarily doing that. Meanwhile, the tanks are not in position here.
That they are,
the Colossus!
But the Colossus are uber exposed. More reinforcements start to come in though. Some of these disruptors, that's a juicy purification over, getting a handful of ghosts along with a ton of bio. The Marines are in the front line, and they're getting eviscerated by the Colossus. The Stalkers are still alive. The Archons are taking a lot of shots. That planetary fortress goes down, and there's still plenty of gateway units. There's still a Colossus here. Piglet's finally chasing this back. The Stim is a good unit, but not good enough. Who would have thought Quantel would be the player qualifying from this side of the bracket?
Wow,
So impressed.
GG, well played. Congratulations, Quantel. Meanwhile, when it comes to Piglet, like, there were moments in that game where were looking good for him, right? Like, he was able to catch those Colossus, catch a Disruptor as well, but we were talking about it. Sometimes one good Purification Nova is all you need, and as you saw, I think in that one Nova, we're going to see it in the replay eventually, there was like 3 or 4 ghosts that went down. That was a juicy Purification
Absolutely
Nova.
huge. Plus a bunch of bio as well.
Oh, yeah, a lot of Marauders. A lot of Marauders were in that.
The Force Fields too, I didn't even mention it in that game, but the Force Field splitting the army in half, and a lot of the army that was split up, a lot of that, in addition to splitting up that army, it also just isolated a lot of Marines. It was a beautiful engagement. Well, I mean, it was kind of rough of an engagement, right? To start things off for Quantel. His Colossus were exposed. He lost 1 or 2 of them unnecessarily, but then reinforcements came in. Quantel repositioned his gateway units, and he got the force fields of his life. I want to shut up right now and just watch the stream as it catches up to that engagement. I'm a goddamn Terran player, and I'm like, there's beauty in that engagement from the Protoss.
Yeah, like, everything went right for him, especially because, again, Piglet was completely out of position. There was no army waiting on top of the ramp with that planetary. He was off to the right, so because of that, one of the biggest defensive advantages that you have is that high ground, is that ramp, and it was just completely given up. So Quantel, like, that was the moment for him to strike, and he went for it.
Before that all happened, though, Mio Micah brings up a good point. Quantel just has an intimidating presence about him. You know? Piglet was just a little bit too scared to break out from that 2-base contain. And it definitely showed. It definitely showed as, well, to be fair, Piglet did have time to max out, but he didn't have enough time to really get a bunch of economy, right? So, wouldn't be able to reach max beyond that.
Yeah. Oh, God.
There we have it. Indonesia Raya.
There you go. Congratulations to Quantel, going to be representing Indonesia in those closed qualifiers, representing Southeast Asia, and Oh, unfortunately, that does mean that our Australian Terran player goes down. It's such a shame. He came close so many times in these qualifiers.
Twice. I guess it's just the curse of us casting him. Absolutely smashes his way to the qualifying match, and then, yeah, unfortunately, not quite able to make it in the qualifying match.
So close, so close. And to be fair, it is one of those things where I'm sure we're going to see more Piglets next year in DreamHack, and more importantly,
Definitely.
we're still going to see more of Piglets in ANZ Champs, mate.
Mate, it's not going to happen because the finals for ANZ Champs is going to be Oreo versus Starduck. But imagine an Oreo Piglet finals.
Yo,
mate.
Let's go. I hope they do meet in ANZ Champs. Not gonna lie, I hope Oreo has a chance at revenge because again, that was still a very close series, and I know he wants another crack at him. Oof.